what everybody's talking about. Well, it's the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, a favorite of all of ours and other religions as well. Even people that are not religious at all love St. Francis of Assisi. So what a great way to start off the week here at EWTN and Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani with... Nope. Not Jerry Usher today. He's off today. So he'll be back. So I need you to fill in that spot. So take two with Debbie and you. Okay. And we're going to be talking about peace today. Of course, with the feast day of St. Francis of Assisi, we're going to talk about peace. That's why we titled it, Make Me a Channel of Your Peace, that beautiful song. And I'm going to read some of the lyrics of that amazing song that I grew up with in Catholic school. And we're going to be talking about how you bring peace into every situation. How are you a peacemaker? That's what we want to hear today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. No Jerry today. He'll be back, but we need you. We've got Matt at the phones, Jeff at social media, and of course, Michael Birchfield, our producer at the controls. So all we need is you to call in or to comment in at 833-288-3986. That's 1-833-288-3986. You can also email us at take2@ewtn.com, and you can comment other ways as well. We want to really hear from you today on how you bring peace into every situation, how you are a peacemaker. I shared earlier, and I've done this every year during the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. The way I sort of interject peace, if you will, is with humor, because I really believe we've lost a lot of humor these days. And, you've got to kind of, sometimes even the most, difficult, deep, even sad things, you can find a little humor, right? And it kind of lightens it a little, and it just makes things a little more peaceful rather than, yelling or screaming or things like that. So humor is my little way of introducing a tiny little bit of peace. Not sarcastic or cynical humor, but just real kind of maybe joyous humor that can, where everybody can kind of just take a breath and think about that. So I want to ask you today, how do you bring peace into situations? How are you a peacemaker? Okay, we know Matthew 5:9, the Sermon on the Mount, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God, or some translations, sons of God. And that is so true. And what is that? What does that mean? Blessed are the peacemakers. Well, they have a happiness, a joy, because they know it is of God, right? And that is so beautiful. So blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And we just heard from the readings this past weekend about being, God, Jesus, and the little children, and what it means to be a little child and how important it is to Jesus. And, peace is a good thing. Peace is a good thing. Now, peace at any cost, or, go along to get along, just to keep peace. Well, you got to have some kind of balance with that, right? So you want peace, but you also really want truth, right? We're striving for truth. So let's keep that in mind as well when we start discussing this. I am flying solo today. Jerry will be back. So I need your help. I need you to fill the phone lines at 1-833-288-3986. Okay, on this beautiful feast day of St. Francis of Assisi. He is so loved by everyone, across all denominations. People of no faith love St. Francis. People have St. Francis statues in their gardens, and they're not even religious. Why is that? Because he did bring that peace. He embodied that peace and that calmness and the truth and the love and the joy. Okay, let's remember the joy, because with peace comes a tremendous amount of joy. So the number to dial, 833-288-3986. Please fill those phone lines. Why? Because I don't want to be talking into a microphone all by myself. I want you. So I really need you to pretend like you're Jerry today, okay? And call up, and it'll be Take Two with Debbie and you. And there you go. So I need your help. And I really want to talk about this on this wonderful feast day. What a great week we've had. We had the Feast of the Archangels, and then St. Therese of Lisieux, or St. Teresa of the Child Jesus. And we had the Guardian Angels Feast. And we go into St. Francis of Assisi. It really doesn't get better than that. It's really a slice of heaven when you think about it. And we're surrounded by angels and saints. And how wonderful is that? I was listening to Catholic radio this morning, and they were talking about that no sin is secret, ultimately, because you have your guardian angel watching, you have obviously God, watching, and also the demons are watching as well, because they want you to fall. And so no sin is secret. And I was thinking about that, and I really just, deeply went into kind of a bit of a contemplation on that for my own life. And I'm thinking, that is so true, because eventually everything is like really out there, and ultimately it will be. And, go back to St. Francis's life. You look at his ministry life, and he really did get to the heart of what it really means to be real. He was genuine. He really put it all out there. And because of that, God blessed his ministry and blessed him. And then the legacy, you've got St. Clare, and you've got the Franciscans, and you've got, you look at the legacy, right? And so it just goes on and on and on. And what does that mean? It means, we serve a God of complete and transparent truth. And with that comes this incredible peace and joy that we can take into any situation, right? As Catholic Christians. And is it that simple? I think it is. I really and truly think it is. I was praying about it deeply this morning, and it came to me so clearly. I thought, man, we are just making things more difficult than they need to be. Let's really get back to St. Francis and his work and his life, and look at that and see if, he can be that great role model for us, that we can emulate, that we can, walk with, because he's active, right? All the saints are active. So it's kind of interesting today. Let's have this discussion from all different angles about peace, but also about St. Francis, and about what that means for us, and, celebrate this wonderful feast day, see where this takes us, and let's see if we walk away a little bit changed, a little bit closer to God. And that's what Take Two is all about, a safe place for us to come together and to talk about things and to grow in our faith. So please call in at 833-288-3986. I want to hear from you quickly. Get to the phones.
Left behind. Lawmakers share the stories of Americans abandoned in Afghanistan. And coronavirus crisis. Workers overseas protest vaccine mandates that threaten their jobs.
Clear, concise, Catholic. EWTN News Nightly. Tonight, 9 Eastern on EWTN Television and Radio.
Have you joined the Inspired by Faith Book and Fellowship Club? It's fast, easy, and free. Just log on to standtalltoday.com and click on the Book Club tab at the top of the page. Your request will go right to our facilitator, Gigi, and soon you'll be reading and chatting about great books and enjoying fellowship with like-minded people any time of the day or night. Go to standtalltoday.com and sign up for the Inspired by Faith Book and Fellowship Club today.
From Rome to your home, EWTN's Vatican Bureau lets you watch all of the important events from Rome, even if you don't have a TV. Using the latest technology, we've made it possible to watch the latest news from the Holy See, all delivered directly to your home. It's easy. Watch live on EWTN YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. EWTN, the Global Catholic Network.
We're talking about how you are a peacemaker today on the Feast of St. Francis of Assisi. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Jerry will be back. You just got me alone today, so I hope you join me in this great discussion of this great saint that everybody knows and loves and has heard of, and at least has a statue or picture of St. Francis. Everybody can picture. If you tell someone to say, if you told someone to close their eyes and picture St. Francis, they could, because that's how much he's loved across the world, which is fabulous. And I hope he's watching and listening right now. So St. Francis, we love you. Okay, just wanted to highlight something for our listeners. Don't miss the latest political and cultural reporting and analysis on topics of interest to Catholics and people of faith on the world over with Raymond Arroyo. And get news from the world over in your inbox every week. So all you have to do is sign up today. You visit EWTN.com and click on subscribe. That's the world over email. I love that. So make sure you get that. I'm very big on getting everything that comes in my email inbox, because then I'm up to date on everything. And, EWTN has you covered. So make sure you subscribe so you get that into your email, everything that comes into your email as well. Okay, so we're going to go to the phones, and I just want to check real quickly. Yes, we have room for you. So start calling in if you want to talk about St. Francis and how you are a peacemaker. 833-288-3986. That's the number to call. You can go on social media and comment there, and Jeff Burson will happily pull your comment and put it up on the screen for me to read. I'm waving to all of you guys. You guys are doing your chat. Thank you so much for being such loyal viewers and listeners to the program. You can also email us at take2@ewtn.com. You can text us. You text the letters EWTN to 55000. You wait for a response, put your first name in, how you're listening, and then put your comment in about being a peacemaker or about St. Francis of Assisi, or both. I will happily take everything that you send in. Okay, so let's move to the phones. I think that would be fun to do to get the conversation started. That's what we do on Take Two. So let's go to Tim. And Tim is in Oakton, Virginia, listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Tim, did I say your town correctly?
You certainly did.
Oh, thank you. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Debbie, and I'm a first-time caller, and I appreciate you taking my call. St. Francis has always been a saint that my family definitely looks up to. Your topic there about being a peacemaker and so forth here, I'm not so sure that I'm necessarily a great role model for that, but I do try to do that in my family. I have 3 adult children, my wife, and it's a constant battle, particularly with countercultural, to really pursue, particularly I think sometimes the Catholic faith and live it. So I try to do that by being a peacemaker, if you will, trying to bridge us together, and through contact frequently, and not to be too too direct sometimes, but to let them know that, care, and here's the way everybody goes through challenges day in and day out, and here's the way you can deal with that. For example, my family right now, I have my oldest daughter's a NICU nurse, so she's pretty busy and under a lot of stress, and my son is in the middle, and he and his wife, they're expecting, and right now there's kind of a impasse between the two of them. And my youngest daughter, we have one granddaughter through her, but trying to keep everybody kind of on an even keel is a real challenge sometimes. I'm always looking for, and particularly if you have advice on how to bridge some of this further and maybe get rid of some of this disunity, I would really greatly appreciate it. Whether it's through prayer or...
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're the father, you're the patriarch, so you absolutely, through prayer and through the Father's blessing too. I absolutely, as your children, if they, your adult children, because they're adults, if they come back around and you get together, actually together, physically together, you're all in the same house or same, place. I'm a firm believer, Tim, of holy water. I really am, because it's so powerful. And I think that did I hear correctly? Are you a practicing Catholic?
I certainly am, and
Okay.
my children are, they're in their late 20s, early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're Catholic. I don't know that they're Protestant regularly, especially with COVID and whatnot there. And my wife, I'm the one, I like to go to early Mass. My wife has some immune issues and whatnot there, and she's been doing more of the online. I would like to get her more back into the fold.
Okay, so a couple things. Definitely, I would recommend a holy water font at the entrance of your front, your front door entrance. I would definitely recommend that. The use of holy water, very, very powerful to bless ourselves, and for you when you come in contact with your adult children to still bless them. You are the Father, and that's a beautiful thing. I also recommend definitely daily rosary. Absolutely. Even if it can just be a decade and you and your wife together, very powerful. Praying and getting to know your guardian angel better, because as you establish that relationship with your guardian angel, then you can ask your guardian angel to definitely, connect with your kids and their guardian angels, so you keep everybody connected that way. Very important on this in the spiritual realm to stay connected with the guardian angels, and then in this physical reality that we're in. Okay, so to make sure we keep that connection. Also go, Tim, to your go-to saints and ask them to surround you. And I could just feel the Holy Spirit as I said this, Tim, so there's a reason for this. Go to your saints that you go to, the ones that you feel the most comfortable with. Ask them to be with you, your wife, your family, to constantly, surround your family and be there as a protection and as friends, right? To help and to shield your family, because this world is constantly trying to divide families, even as families get older. As a matter of fact, Tim, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of families have been complaining about the fact that their young families, when their kids were in their home, and even in college, there was some problematic times, but they're noticing that the family is breaking apart at a later stage. Okay, when the kids are in their 20s and 30s. So what does that tell us? It tells us that Satan's not happy that he couldn't break up the family when they were young. So he's trying to go after the adult kids. And so you're right. So to keep everybody together, to keep the harmony, to keep the peace. Real quickly, if you know the words of the song "Make Me a Channel of Your Peace," I would print those words, Tim, and thank you for being a first-time caller. That makes me so happy. Thank you so much for feeling comfortable to call in, especially today when I'm all alone hosting the show. But if you know I would download those words and really use those words. It's a prayer of St. Francis, and I would actually meditate on those words. So think about it as the parent, you as the father. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord, and where there's doubt, true faith in you. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there's despair in life, let me bring hope. Where there's darkness, only light, and where there's sadness, ever joy. And then it goes on, and it's so powerful, Tim. But there's a reason we have those prayers, because they are effective in our lives if we truly meditate upon them and start to incorporate them in our daily walk. And you'll see that the good Lord will place in front of you the right moves for you as the father of a big family, and you will be able to have those resources come into place to really keep your family thriving. And that's what we want. We want families to thrive. We don't want families to just survive. We want them to thrive. So what do you think about some of the things I shared? There's a lot more I can share with you. And if you ever want to email us, we could continue the conversation. It's take2@EWTN.com. But I'm curious as to what you think about some of the things I shared.
Thank you so much, Debbie. I'm learning a lot from you, and I really appreciate it. In fact, I would there are some saints like Saint Theo and so forth, Saint Joseph, that I try to go to. Of course, the Blessed Mother. But if there's other saints you'd recommend, I'd greatly appreciate that. I do also wonder. I listened to the show on Friday, and you had mentioned the Memorare and also an Express Novena. I don't know much. I know a little bit about the Memorare and whatnot there, but if there's any other prayer recommendations you have, I would really greatly appreciate it.
Well, this is interesting, Tim, because as I was, wow, Saint Padre Pio is so active and he's so amazing. Okay, and we just celebrated his feast day at the end of September. Tim, I was thinking of Saint Padre Pio, and you just said Saint Pio is one of your go-to saints. Okay, go to Padre Pio. Ask him to take your family as his spiritual, as his, spiritual sons and daughters as a family. Okay, ask Padre Pio to do that. Okay, and you'll see that he will very much become very active in your life and the life of your family. And so that's huge. Praise be to God. That was a confirmation. Tim, the Memorare, yes. The Memorare to Our Lady, very powerful. St. Teresa of Calcutta knew that. That's why she would pray 9 Memoraries. She would already thank the Blessed Mother on a 10th Memorare because, see, she didn't, in her ministry work, Tim, she didn't have time to go 9 days or 9 months. For a novena means 9, right? So she did about 9 minutes, okay? And she did the Memorare, and she said it never failed in her ministry. And there's a whole book written about it. And so I would definitely recommend the Memorare. Tim, also say the St. Michael prayer morning and evening for your family because we are all under attack. It's that simple. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm not trying to, create some drama that's not there. It is true. The demons are absolutely going, overtime. So say the St. Michael prayer for you and your family in the morning and the evening. I would definitely recommend that. The guardian angel prayer for sure, because that allows your guardian angels to do their ministry work. And the rosary. I mean, I'm a firm believer of the rosary, daily rosary. Absolutely. And you'll see, I mean, the good Lord, I have things happening in my life, Tim, that are truly mini miracles, and they're happening so fast. It's not because of me, but I believe it's because I've heightened my prayer routine. I've deepened my prayer regimen. And because of that, things are happening. And so I'll be sharing more about that hopefully at the end of October. But so you got to stay tuned because it's unfolding as we speak. But Tim, if that helps any, I'm happy to continue the conversation by email as well. Okay?
Thank you so much, Debbie. I really greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're a great dad, a great husband. I think that's wonderful. And you care about your family. And so, we need to support each other in families. And that's a big thing. So thank you, Tim. So we'll talk to you again. God bless you. If you want to join this conversation about being a peacemaker in your home or being a peacemaker in the world on this wonderful feast of St. Francis of Assisi, now is the time to call in at 1-833-288-3986. And we are going to move to Anne in Buffalo, in New York, listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Anne.
Hi. I just wanted to say whenever I travel, I always pray to St. Francis, St. Martin de Porres, and Father Solanus Casey, who had a relationship with animals that we don't run into each other in traffic. Years ago, we used to camp at a campground near a parish called St. Philomena, and I never really heard of her or wondered, who she was. And I found a book about her, and she's very powerful. She's based in Italy, and she's a saint for our times from what I read. But anyway, she guards your home against burglaries, and I had 2 miracles through her. One weekend we were camping, and usually I say this quick prayer to, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, guardian angel, Padre Pio, Saint Philomena, watch over us, protect us, and keep us safe. I had the thought come to my mind, St. Philomena, on a Saturday over Labor Day weekend. So I said the quick prayer to myself. We came home the following Monday, and our back door window was smashed in, but they didn't get in. Our neighbor heard breaking glass on 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and her husband didn't hear a thing. She got up and walked through the yard, scared off the intruder. So that was one miracle. And the second one was my dad was very ill, and he was infirm in a nursing home, and he was incontinent in a wheelchair, very confused. My mom, a very devout rosary person, we prayed to St. Philomena, and the next day my dad was out of the wheelchair. He had his faculties back. He was continent, and he lived a couple of more years, and he came back to the faith after 50 years and received all the sacraments before he died.
Wow. Wow. Well, you don't have to convince me, Anne, because I'm a big follower of St. Philomena. I absolutely love that great saint. As a matter of fact, when I was in religious education, active as a DRE, the teens all made red and white bracelets that they wore because they all followed St. Philomena as well. And so I agree with you. But see, Anne, here's the interesting thing of what you said. I'm so glad that you were protected from all those things that could have potentially been really, harmful and dangerous, and very sad. But Anne, here's the thing. We have these saints that are active. They are our friends in heaven. They want to help us. They want to be our role models. They want to journey with us. And it's amazing. And so, Anne, hang on. Just hang on. You hear that music. When we come back, let's pick up this conversation because I think this is important on the feast day of St. Francis of Assisi. We'll be right back.
Živi istinu, živi katoličanstvo.
عيش الحقيقة، عيش الكاثوليكية.
Mabuhay sa katotohanan, isabuhay ang pagiging katoliko.
In any language, it means the same. Live truth. Live Catholic. EWTN.
I lost a mentor recently. Barbara Morgan had taught me how to share the faith while I was at Steubenville as a student. I called to thank her as she lied in her deathbed and to ask her to pray for my work, the work that she had taught me how to do. Amazingly, the person who mentored me in my work didn't seem to care about my work at that moment at all. She said, "Chris, the best thing you ever did was marry Natalie. Hold on to those around your table. Those you brought into the world, hold on to them. Don't forget them. And when you see me again, I'll be before God interceding for your children." It was a great reminder that I can't hear often enough. It's easy to lose yourself in your work, especially if it's work for God. But no matter how lofty your work is, if your vocation is marriage and family life, it pales in comparison to whatever other work God has given you. That work right in your home is the most important work of all. Hold on to those around your table, friends. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com.
He was a Jesuit, a cardinal, and a doctor of the Church.
Matthew Bunson and the Doctors of the Church.
St. Robert Bellarmine is honored for his immense contributions to theology, including helping to draft 2 important catechisms that defended church teachings during the Protestant Revolt. Pope Clement VIII named Bellarmine a cardinal because, as the Pope put it, Bellarmine had not his equal for learning.
For more about the Doctors of the Church, visit doctorsofthechurch.com.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. We embrace the essence of feminine spirituality on Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie.
Feast of St. Francis of Assisi. We could probably do a whole week worth of shows on St. Francis because everybody loves this great saint. But we're talking about peace today and bringing peace into our homes and being peacemakers. And we're speaking with Anne in Buffalo, New York. And Anne, I just wanted to pick up where we left off and just talk about this idea of, I think sometimes because we don't see the saints and because we don't see the angels, right? Sometimes we forget that they are very, very active and they care and they want to, especially, our guardian angels that were commissioned just for us specifically, uniquely for us. Your guardian angel is not going to be recycled, folks. It's just for Anne. Anne's got her own personal guardian angel that God, picked out just for Anne, and that guardian angel stays with Anne. And the beauty of that, and sometimes I think we forget that they're right there to guard us and guide us, right? And to illuminate our mind and strengthen our will. And so it's really quite beautiful when everything works together. What do you think about that, Anne? Because you kind of tapped into that with the devotion to St. Philomena.
I agree. And I think that all that you say on your show is very helpful to me and my family, and I'm sure a lot of other people.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate your call today. And go back just 1 second about because somebody just texted in. They said, what exactly happened at your home that St. Philomena protected? Can you just share that one more time?
Oh, sure. I do a mental prayer before I leave the house, and St. Philomena is one of the saints that I ask to watch over our house because she guards property and whatnot and foils burglaries. So I was camping. We were away, and it was like 2:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday, and the thought, her name came into my head, so I did that quick prayer again. And when we got home, our back door, the window was smashed, and I talked to the neighbor the next day, and nobody got in. They just broke the window and left. And my neighbor heard glass breaking. It was like 2:30 in broad daylight, and she got up and walked through her yard to the next property because she was watching that house, and she didn't know what happened. She didn't hear a thing, and she told me the time. It was 2:30 on a Saturday afternoon that happened. She was sitting right next to her husband, who didn't hear a thing, and she checked on the other property, and it was fine, and she had no idea it was our house that got the window smashed.
Wow. Well, you got to love this great saint, and obviously she loves you as well, Anne, and that's a beautiful thing. See, and you know what's great about this? I mean, think about this for a second, Anne. When we're finished with our time here on earth, you know, God willing, you're just going to seamlessly go into heaven, right? And you're just going to go Philomena, and you're going to be old friends. Isn't that a beautiful concept and an image to kind of, you know, imagine and contemplate on?
It really is. And I just want to say one more thing. I think it's very hard for your families to get together to pray because everyone's off on a different agenda or they just don't believe it. And so anyway, I mentally call upon all the guardian angels in our family and do a rosary together with all the guardian angels. And I think that's kind of something that it helps me to pray better.
Oh, Anne, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Boy, you're living up to the name Anne. That you are great. I love that. I love that. Way to go, Anne. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing today. You probably helped many, many souls today. You probably won't see it here on earth, but God willing, you'll see it in eternity. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Take it easy.
Okay, take care. Thank you. We'll move to John, and John is driving through Virginia. Sirius XM 130 is the way John's listening. John, I hope it's on Bluetooth. Last week, we had one of our dear listeners almost drive off the road while calling into Take Two, and we don't want that for you. So you safely parked?
I am on Bluetooth, but
okay.
I'm no longer in Virginia. I'm in Maryland now because I've been driving this whole time.
Wow.
I just wanted to comment about St. Francis. The point that you made that his appeal kind of transcends all denominations and all lines beyond Catholics. And there's two other saints that I can think of that's true of, and one was John Paul II, and the other was Mother Teresa. And I think the thing that's true in all three cases is their goodness could not be denied. It just shone through. The simplicity and the goodness was there for everyone to see. And I think there's something we should take from that, because if you're going to try to convert someone, first there has to be an attraction to you. There has to be something in you that they want, because people see if you're duplicitous. If you say all the right things, you talk all the right doctrines, but you're full of anger and resentment and hypocrisy, that's going to repel people. And that genuineness and that love was very present in those three saints. And I'll hang up and listen to your comments.
Wow, John, that was great. Great wisdom and insights on that. And I agree with you completely. I reference Mother Teresa and John Paul II all the time. It's, in fact, St. Teresa of Calcutta is one of our powerhouse 7 saints that we pray to right before we start the show. Jerry and I absolutely love and always have John Paul II. So I agree with you. And of course, St. Francis. I went all the way to Assisi just so I could walk those cobblestone streets and just be in the presence. And it was so peaceful in the garden, and just to be around where he walked and where he ministered. And so I agree with you. You know, we need more transparency. We need more honesty. We need more peace. We need more kindness. And you're spot on, John, because here's the problem that I've always had, and not to transition this beautiful conversation about St. Francis into any type of political, talk. But let me just share, because, if you turn on the news, that's all you're hearing is all these things that are coming down from the top everywhere. And it's kind of odd to me because I'm hearing things, right? And they're saying on the surface that things are truth. But then when you peel back the layers and you investigate things and you look into things or research, it's not the truth. And so then what are you to believe? In fact, who are you to believe? And who are you to follow? And should you just accept something because it's being said the loudest, or they have a microphone or a stage or a platform? And so it's really, I agree with you, John, wholeheartedly, that we need real, honest leaders. We need heroes. We need people who are going to speak the gospel message. People are going to pass on the gospel message, share the gospel message. People who are going to really be Christ in this world and walk the walk and talk the talk. And that is why I do agree that St. Francis is loved by, universally is just loved by everyone. And people travel from all over the world to go to Assisi in Italy because they want to be near where he walked. And so we can get that back again if we would just start being real and honest and doing what is right and peeling away and removing. And here's the thing. St. Teresa of Avila used to say this to her nuns when they would come out of confession. Okay, first of all, we as Catholic Christians go to confession. Go to confession. And when you come out of confession, think of St. Teresa of Avila when she used to say to her nuns, begin again. There's always a way to begin again with our God. So don't think that just because you have all this luggage, all of these choices you made, all of these problems, that you have to be stuck with that luggage. Get rid of that luggage after you go to confession and begin again. And you can say to people and your family, hey, I'm starting anew. This is a brand new slate, a brand new day for me, and I'm going forward in this direction. I know you remember me from the past. I know you remember me from the things I did in the past, but I'm not that person anymore. I went to confession. My soul is clean, and I'm moving forward in a new direction. And I even say this to our clergy and religious. Please do that as well, because a lot of times there'll be a person who's in religious life or in the priesthood or diaconate, and we know, we hear what they're saying, right? But then we kind of see what they're doing, and we're going, that doesn't even add up. That's not in sync. It's not accurate. So we need to get clean and then march forward. John, I could be talking about this all day long. I told Michael Birchfield that my religious education hat is now on, and so it's hard to get me to stop. Michael Birchfield, our producer, is going to have to cut my mic because I am very passionate about this. But thank you, John. Safe driving. Now you're in Maryland. Safe driving. Your guardian angel's right next to you. Okay, let's move on to Tom. Tom is a first-time caller. Look at all these first-time callers. Thanks, you guys. You're so kind. Sirius XM 130 is the way you're listening, Tom, and welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for having me on your show.
Well, thank you for calling in. It takes a big leap of faith to make that call, but I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, you said that you wanted some people to call in. I felt a little chatty today, and I was like, wow, you know what? This is my time. I'm going to do this.
Good. So what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think about St. Francis and the peacemaking and all that?
Well, you know what? as Catholic as I am, I did not know much about the life of St. Francis. I was just listening to another program this morning, and it was describing the story of his birth and, the environment he grew up in and how he was groomed to be a businessman and then gave all that up to pursue the gospel. And I was dumbfounded. I was like, wow, this man happened. That's such a poetic, irony and a way to turn your life around. And it reminded me of a comic I saw years ago when I was a kid. And the comic was just a simple 2-panel comic. It was a preacher standing before a crowd at a church. And the first panel is he quotes from Scripture the passage where Jesus tells the rich man to sell all of his things to the poor and follow him. And the crowd's very worried about this because they're, your regular Sunday morning crowd. And then the next panel is, no, let me tell you, in his homily, let me tell you what he really meant by that. And everyone's breathing a sigh of relief because, I don't have to go sell all my wealth and, carry my cross and do these things. And that struck me when I was a kid. I had to be 11 or 12 when I saw that. And it struck me with a great power. I was like, wow, how often do I hear that, whether it be through my teachers, through other forms of media. I've even heard, probably unintentionally, a couple homilies do something, similar. But how often do we not truly look at the stark word of the gospel? And then here is St. Francis doing exactly that in a time when no one thought that that's what you would do anymore. No one thought you would actually go sell all of your stuff and actually go follow Jesus in exactly that literal manner, but here he is doing it. And it was such an incredible message, and I just wish more people would pick up on that and more people would have that and say, wow, you know what, that could happen. That could be the way,
Tom, you tapped on something that I want to just revisit what you said. This idea of detachment, this idea of letting go of the worldly things and really focusing on God. And it can appear to be very radical. And some people would think it's kind of foolish. Why would you give away everything you accumulated and earned and everything? Why would you walk away from it? But, as we know from the saints, detachment was a very big part of their road to holiness. And in the detachment comes this incredible freedom and peace, because there's nothing that's holding them back. They're free to fly. And that's a beautiful thing. Do you feel, Tom, given, just in the world and looking at today's society, because you're tapping into that, and I think it's very interesting, we're transitioning the conversation to that. Do you feel that people are really just very burdened and weighed down, and people are going in a direction that the world is telling them to go towards, but it's really something that is leading them to a bit of a prison, and that's unfortunate, because we were really made, we're pilgrims on a journey, so we're made to move, and where are we made? Where are we moving towards? We're moving hopefully towards God. So what do you think about that? Comment on that. I'm curious your take on that.
Wow, that's a big topic to have a take on. Well, I'm in my mid-20s. I am in a very young crowd. I have, I'm still a part of this whole technological revolution, doing everything through social media, the incredible ramifications of having a world accessing device at your fingertips at all times. And I think that device, I try to use it to my best ability to more inundate my life with Catholicism, with these little memoirs and these little things. But I know many, many, many people, especially my age, do the opposite. They use it to escape these but to escape these responsibilities and these duties and these calls to action or these calls to holiness. They use it to avoid these topics, and it's so easy when this device is in your hands. So that is what I see a lot of in my day-to-day, which is terrifying, but I try to use it to my best ability, and I try to encourage others to do the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tom, I sense that about you. First of all, I could tell that you were, younger. I'm a grandmother, so I can say that, Tom. I have sons your age. But Tom, may I ask, have you ever discerned a life in ministry or a vocation? I'm just curious, because there's something I find very deep about you that is beyond this this world.
Wow, it is so funny you asked that. I actually haven't been asked that in a long time, but to say discern makes it sound like I have, folded in an answer. I have considered ministry, considered the priesthood, yes, but considered as I have not yet felt strongly called, and I feel like I am currently right now where I need to be. I am a high school teacher. I teach mathematics, but I feel like at this moment, that's exactly where I need to. And don't ask why I'm not in school today, but I feel like that's where I need to be right now. I have not reached. It's not like I have a call. I'm rejecting it. It's like I'm waiting for it. I feel like it could come one day, but I'm waiting.
Yeah, the timing. I sense that too. Tom, beautiful. I mean, this is so providential. Tom, very much ask your guardian angel to be part of this journey with you, because remember, your guardian angel's there, like I said earlier, to illuminate your mind and strengthen your will. And in the illumination of your mind, it actually brings clarity, and it also brings people into view. And so that would be, I could feel the Holy Spirit on this, Tom. I feel strongly about it. I would say it's 100% on this one. Your guardian angel is going to be key in your forward movement and your discernment process for whatever that would be, the timing of it, or if to continue on with teaching, which is a vocation in and of itself. And I think it's beautiful. So I just know that, Tom, that I felt strongly that your guardian angel was kind of tapping you on the shoulder.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I studied angels for over 13 years, and I've always been hesitant to talk a lot about the guardian angels, because I get inundated with a lot of calls and a lot of comments, and people want to know more and more. And I've never wanted any of my talks to be recorded, although a few of them have, and they've been circulated, simply because I really believe there's so much to learn about the theology of angels and how it helps us in the journey to get to heaven. I'm kind of getting more confident in going forward on that, because I think it's necessary right now, because I think people feel very isolated and alone. You probably see that maybe even with some of your students, Tom.
I do. It's an entire adjustment period.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. We've got to remind people that they have their guardian angels right next to them. You're never, ever alone. Tom, God bless you. If you want to stay in touch with us, I know, Jerry's big on vocations, and so am I. Please email us anytime, take2@EWTN.com. Okay.
I will certainly do so when I am able.
Thank you, Tom. God bless you. And okay, so now you can get back to class.
Thanks so much.
Okay, take care. Beautiful feast day today. Great call from Tom. That was wonderful. And we are going to, let me just share. I want to share, when we highlight different programs and different resources for you, it's for your benefit, because EWTN is everywhere. And so we want to make sure you're constantly up to speed on what's out there and what programs. So EWTN Open Line Monday this afternoon is 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And Open Line with Father John Trigilio on EWTN Radio. You got to check it out. Open Line is great because the questions, the answers, and Father does a fabulous job. So this is why we highlight these programs. Okay, let's go to Julianne. Julianne's in Fort Worth, Texas on the EWTN app. Welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well on the Feast of St. Francis. Good. How are you?
Wonderful. And, today being the Feast of St. Francis, it reminded me of this little book that it's got to be, 60 plus years old. But it was a book that my dad had given to my aunt, or my aunt had given to my dad, about the life of St. Francis. And I remember them reading it to us and reading it to my children. And when I opened it up, it's got crayon marks on it, and there's a McDonald's ruler from a Happy Meal in there, and all sorts of things like that, brochures and this and that. And I just think about how important it is to read to our children the lives of the saints, and to have that part of their growing up and their faith experience and their faith journey. That's just all I wanted to say. I think it's really wonderful to keep the lives of the saints important in our kids and their example, and I'm so blessed that my family did that, and we would sit and read Butler's Lives of the Saints, just like sitting down on the sofa and as kids, just something to read through. And so anyway, in the Feast of St. Francis, I think it's just really it just reminded me of that.
Well, Julianne, let me share something with you too, because I agree with you. You said reading the lives of the saints. Well, we read the lives of the saints to keep them alive in our in our journey, right? And a lot of times when you read the lives of the saints, sometimes, especially to kids or to the youth or the young adults, they'll say, "Well, that was so long ago. That doesn't happen now." But you don't. When you really get into their lives and their ups and downs, their twists and turns, their sufferings, their all sorts of things they dealt with, the struggle to make sure to stay in a life of holiness. I mean, then you can relate to that and you can apply that to your life, even at the youngest age. Children gravitate towards that beauty of the lives of the saints. And that's why when I was growing up, Julianne, you probably, maybe, I'm not sure what age bracket you're in, but when I was growing up, that's why the book, The Lives of the Saints, was given to all kindergartners and first grade and second grade. And when First Communion, I mean, you would give the books of the Lives of the Saints because of that, because they are our role models. They are our heroes of the faith. And it's really quite beautiful. We've lost that because we've replaced it, let's face it, with junk. There's junk in the world. And what's happening is everybody is here's the thing that always gets me. Now, I'm not a big, filet mignon eater, but my husband is, okay? He loves filet mignon with mashed potatoes and a vegetable, okay? So if my husband has that in front of him, or he has, another choice of, just something out of a can that you can't even describe what it looks like, and it's placed on a plate beside it, which is my husband going to choose? Of course he's going to go for the filet mignon. Why? Because he knows that's good. He knows what it tastes like. He knows it's better for him, and it's healthier choice, and he knows that is the quote unquote richer option, right? The richer option that's going to serve him better. But yet if you look at what's happening with the world, we're served this stuff on a plate that we don't even know what to call it, right? And we're being told to accept it like it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. So that's an analogy, a poor analogy, but you know where I'm going with this, Julianne. We've been fed this narrative that this is okay, this is all good for us. It's not good for us. We need to choose the richer choice, the soul enriching choice. And with reading the lives of the saints, that can only benefit us. I completely agree with you. I love your comments. What do you think? It was a poor analogy, but you know where I was going with it.
Well, yes, absolutely, I agree with that. And these are the people who are saints are holy heroes. They lived heroic lives. And
that's right.
And those heroic lives are examples to us. And even as kids, we'd look up want to know who the saint was for our birthday. We would read that one particularly, or who is the saint for Mom's birthday, or who is this, and so and looking at those holy examples that the church has given us. And I think that we turn to other things for heroes that are really false heroes. The
exactly.
Superheroes and so forth. It's all mythology, and you look at what they put on TV for kids these days. It's all this fantasy, and yet there's very little grounded in reality and in virtue and in a true hero.
That's exactly right, Julianne. And here's the thing. That's what I was talking about, the junk we're being fed. And it also can be a doorway to the demonic. And that's a real problem for us as Christians. It can be a doorway, so we have to be very careful. Let's get back to the lives of the saints. Let's celebrate this beautiful feast day, St. Francis of Assisi. Great show today. I'm sorry I couldn't get to Joan and Christy. We can always, you can always call back and we can answer your questions or and comment on what you have to say as well. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the who do you admire? Talking about people. Who do you admire in the entertainment world? That's tomorrow's show on Take Two. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. St. Joseph, please pray for us. Joseph, please, St. Joseph.
The EWTN home video highlight for